desk lamp here, a Gerintech. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. Doesn't come on. Has LEDs here. Even has a little clock right here, I guess. Has no power. So you use a USB connection here and plug it in over here in my power supply. Plug it in, tap the light, nothing happens. I even tried to see if something was coming through on the output USB port. And to start my little MP3 player here, and I have no output because my little player won't start. So I got looking around on this thing, and now it works, but it's only temporary because I'll show you this up close, but let me turn this off. If you notice, you might be able to tell from here, somebody jammed a USB in there and they broke this part right here. So what's happening is this is pushed all the way up to the top right here, and it's shorting out the contacts for the USB port. So if I turn this on and then I push this all the way up, it shorts out the contacts and it kills it, so nothing works. And now if I hold it there and I go to press the button, nothing works. So that's why you got to be gentle when you're using USB ports, and don't just cram the end of the USB cable in and out of the port, because those things aren't as robust as you think they are. Always make sure you're looking at it so you plug it in the right way. So now this one, you know, it'll look like it goes in there, but it's actually, it looks like it's in there, right? But all the contacts are actually riding on the, get that off there, riding on the top side of this, while the little plastic piece is the only thing that's riding on the inside where it's supposed to. So that's why you know, you got to be careful when you're putting this in there, and don't be wiggling it up and down, because these things are cheap and they break real easy. Same goes with this side here. That one's an even smaller one. So, and this fits in there really loose. You can see how loose this is. So it's pretty wore out. So that's the problem with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to replace, see if I can find the replacement parts for both of these ports here, and get this back working for her again. I mean, I guess I could, you know, just pull this down and stick my little screwdriver in here, pry all these things down away from, so it's not shorting out against the ground, the body, the metal part of the USB. Now it should be good, and then we can plug this in and it's back in business. But you can't use that port because they're all bent in there. So, but I think from what I understand, the person uses this. So we're going to have to go ahead and take this thing apart and see if I can get the replacement parts, which I probably can. I mean, Them things are sold pretty much everywhere. But now, since that's going, I'm assuming, I thought I heard the clock going. Let me turn that off. I thought at one time I heard the clock going. Maybe the battery's just too dead. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe the battery's dead. Let's check. Oh, let me get a right screwdriver here. We'll check this battery. I think I have the right one sitting here because I was warned that this battery might be dead. They weren't sure. But we'll see. Because even with no power, this clock doesn't work for some reason. So it must need the external power supply for the clock to even work. So this battery that was in there reads, nothing right at the second, reads 2.5 volts. The one I have in my hand to replace it temporarily is 3.3 volts. Well, you think 2.5 volts would give us something, but let's put the 3.5 in there. Let's see. It's in there, and I don't see nothing coming on in the clock. I don't need to put the back cover on it because it is connecting, it is touching where it's supposed to be, so it's in there tight. There is a spring in there in the back, and then our contacts up on the top right there, so there's nothing can go wrong with putting that in there. But I thought I did hear that clock come on. Did you? Maybe I have to rewind this video and see what's going on. Maybe I didn't hear nothing. Didn't hear nothing. Another one of those fine double negatives. Maybe I didn't hear anything. Oops. Look at that. I leaned it and I bent the connector back. You see that? Well, I guess this cable's about shot too, huh? See if it... Okay. Still no clock though. I wonder if there's something in the, maybe some wiring in here is gone wacko. So we're going to have to take it apart and take a look at that too. See what's going on. See why the clock needs the power from the outside, needs this power if it runs on batteries. Looks like, I was going to say it looks like there's a reset, but I guess that's an alarm type thing or something, because we have S and up and down. Pushing those buttons don't do anything right now. So I'm thinking there's got to be some bad wiring in there. Alright, so that's what we got right now. So I'm going to go ahead and take this apart and see if I can get to those USB ports and find some wiring with this plug-in, or with this clock, and see what's going on with that. Hey, look at that. Took the back cover off and now the clock works for some reason. So there's got to be a bad connection, I'm guessing, right? So, oh, yeah, that's because I bent that battery, or bent that thing back. Oh, now it's freaking out again. Unplug it for a second, plug it back in. Yeah, it's freaking out. See it going through. Yeah, it has to go through all of its stuff, and then 73 degrees in here. The 12th month, the 30th, the time is 12 o'clock. Yep, it's pretty much all wrong except the 73 degrees. It might be that in this house, but it sure doesn't feel like it. So the battery must just be the backup to hold the clock in case the power goes out. So yeah, the plug-in for the that just kind of goes to show that the plug-in for the power is pretty flaky. There's something wrong with the maybe there's a board down inside here, which I'm sure there is because, you know, of the electronics that you got down here. I just noticed that you can put your finger around here and it changes the colors. That's pretty nifty. I seen one of these online and I thought it was like $55 from this company at their website. That's pretty expensive. So yeah, but why the clock didn't work and the light did, that baffles me. But now the clock is working. And well, it kind of makes sense. Like there's some cables that are, once I started looking at it here, there's some cables that might be shot. The clock is still working. You can see the lights through the circuit board here. And you can see that there is, well, here's our little temperature sensor. I don't know if you can see that. The temperature sensor is this in this blob of white stuff right here. We have some wires that go up to the LEDs right here, and then there's some other ones. We have this white and gray one that actually goes down into here. That would be the ones that are causing the problem with the clock display not working when the power with the power is, even when the power is plugged in, because these have to be the ones that power that board. So there's probably somewhere in here where this thing swivels and stuff, there's probably something going on there, I'm guessing. I'll have to futz around with it a little bit and see if I can wiggle the wire around, and I can pull some of it out of there and find the bad spot. There's some extra wire going down in the bottom. Maybe there's a bad connection here somewhere on the board. Alright, well, I don't want to take up all your time watching me just poke around on this, so let me continue with it and get this bottom section tore apart. And I just wanted to show you that the clock was on and what it looked like in the back here, and show you that these are the troublesome wires somewhere in here that's causing the clock not to work sometimes. Alright, let's keep going. Right here, looks like we got to be careful because they have epoxied, looks like two little pins, two plastic pins from this point into this point. So if you're not careful, you're going to break them or break the housing or something. You can see right here, this white one right here, there's glue between there. So I'm just trying to be careful to split that apart. And now I'm trying to get the other side, but it's a little tough. There we go. Yeah, these 2 points right here, they had epoxy on there, and they were going into these two here. You could see the epoxy in there, so you want to be careful with that. Alright, got a big old weight on the bottom of that. Let me disconnect the wires off of this LED ring down here, so we ain't got to mess with that. So we got down there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 18. So interesting. Set that aside, since that part seems to be working fine. We got a little circuit board here that controls those LEDs and the little color changing wheel there. It's interesting how that works. And there we got our little USB boards here. Yeah, so we'll have to buy the big one and the small one and solder them back on there, because the small one's really loose. Like I said, it's wore out from being plugged in and pulled in and out. So it's pretty loose. It could be tighter, so we'll just go ahead and replace both of them. And she might even have to get a different cable. You could see I bent that a little bit, but I'm sure I'm not the only one that did damage to it. But I don't know how long she's had this. But yeah. That's pretty much it. This board is I'm not going to take this board off because it looks like it's epoxy down in there through these spots right here. So we're just going to leave that there since there's nothing wrong with it. I will take this board off here. You got 2 screws. got that connector. Got this connector, which is another power connector for this board, it looks like. Here's our wires that go up to the clock. Yeah, so this is our clock wires there. So alright, I won't bore you with any more of this. I'm going to buy one of these, and I'm going to buy one of these, and I'm going to replace them, and then we'll get this thing back together. Since I had this tore apart a little bit, I was looking at the clock, and the display in this thing looks pretty cool. So I figured I wanted to see what that display looks like. So I dug into it a little bit more since I had it apart. And I thought maybe they were just 7-segment displays that were packed in there, because they look pretty cool. They look, you know, like separate displays in there. But after I took it apart, I got all the screws out and everything already. This is what I found in here. I just got to slip them off some little plastic tags that they got in here. This is what it is. You can see the back. You can see the outlines of the displays there. So they're not actually 7-segment displays. They're actually just LEDs that fit down in each of the empty spots there to make it look like a 7-segment display. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So it's been a couple days, or gosh, probably longer than that, since I got back to doing this. So I got this all back together, went and bought a new cable for it so we can get rid of this white one. I wasn't able to find anything that looked out of the norm for the clock, so I just went ahead and put it back together. I'll show you a picture here of the board. I put the new USB connectors in there. Got the old ones sitting next to it. So got those changed. It was a little bit of work because it wasn't the exact ones. So a little bit of work putting those in there, but it worked out pretty good, and they look like they're the ones that are supposed to be in there. So let's see if this works. Got this new one here at Menards for, I don't know, $3 or something like that, some cheap price. But yeah, hopefully won't have no problems with this one for a while. Should have had this open already instead of taking your time opening it. Just a little short 3-foot one. Alright, I got my power supply off to the side over here. Gonna plug that in. Alright, let's plug it in here. Again, carefully plug these in. Don't jam them in there like you don't care, because that's what ruins them. Stick it in there nice and easy. That feels nice and snug. Like that. Nice and snug in there. Hey, look at that, the clock's on. So it must have a good connection there because the clock is on. And the light's on. Oops, 1, 2, how many is that? It's got 3, 1, 2, 3, off. So yeah, the clock's on now, so that's good. And that connection is really tight, and I think that's this cable here, for some reason, I think is, it had to have been that cable that was, I'm just kind of gently wiggling that apart there. I'm going to try this cable again and see if that has something to do with that clock not working. I mean, it's only the power that comes through here, so it only uses, there's 4 pins in here, and 2 of them it's used for, they're connected together, it's for ground, and then it has the power. But it powered the light, but it didn't power the clock. Now, that's weird. So that didn't make no sense. Yeah, so now the clock is working, but anyway, we'll, like I said, I didn't find nothing that I could see that's out of the ordinary with the clock, but we'll just let it go for now. And there we go. The clock's not working now this time when I plug that in there. Now, why is that? Is that something in the clock? I'm going to disconnect it again. And then I'm going to connect it again. And it's a nice tight fit in there. And the clock does not come on. I'm going to disconnect it from the power supply. So I got the end here. And then I'm going to plug it back into the power supply. And then the clock doesn't work. Huh. I'm going to have to try to figure out what's going on with that. Let's see if our bottom ring works. That one works. Okay, so we're still good there. So we still have, I guess I still have to try to figure out what's going on with that clock. Well, I guess this wasn't a fix-all this quick. Let me get back to the drawing table, and I'll get back with you in a few minutes or so and let you know what I found out. We're back and in the dark. I looked for the manual for this thing, which I should have done a long time ago, or got the manual from the person, and I found out some interesting things here. We're in the dark, looking in the mirror, looking at the light above. I'm going to turn that on because I found out something interesting. I turned the exposure on my camera way down because I accidentally stumbled across this before I looked at the manual. If I hold my finger down on the power button for the lights, I found out there's a center strip of lights. I didn't notice that because I didn't take that part apart. And if I hold this down, it jumps between the 2 sets of lights. So you can actually turn those on to different brightnesses once you get it on there. You can hit it brighter and brighter and then off. Turn it back on. I can hold my finger down, hit all of them. Brighter, brighter, and then off. Turn them on, hold my finger on it, then it goes to the outside. So you got different settings for that. So that's pretty cool, I didn't know that. But back to where we was. Let me put the thing back on auto. Get that out of there. Found out that the reason why the clock is not working is because you have to hold down the 2 arrow buttons on the back. See, it would have helped if I would have had the manual for this thing. there's up down arrows there, and apparently if you hold those it'll turn the clock on or off. So let's try that. Let me turn this light off. Okay, so I'm going to hold down the up down arrows. Maybe I didn't do it at the same time, huh? Maybe I'm not holding them right. Okay, let me get coordinated here. Okay, so that's not working for me. Well, I come to the conclusion that there's a bug in their software for their clock when it doesn't, when the clock doesn't come in or come on when you plug it in, because you do have to wait quite a while for it to work after you plug it in, or you unplug it, then you wait for a long time, when plug it in, then it'll come on or it might not come on. So I think it's a bug in their software, because like I said, there's nothing that I can find wrong with it. So I did find out something else, that if you don't want your clock on, there's them two arrow buttons in the back there. If you just hold it down for 3 or 4 seconds, it'll shut the clock off. If you don't want the light on at night, then you just press one of the buttons and it comes back on. So press it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. So it depends on how much you count, I guess. And then you press it and it comes back on. But yeah, that's it. I think we're going to call it good for this video. For this light, everything's working. I believe I did show that my little MP3 player does work now on it. I don't remember if I did, but I'll plug it in to show you. It's plugged in, and now I have my little blue light that you can see that's on here. This battery is really dead in here, that's why it won't even turn on, but we didn't get the blue light before, so now it's charging the battery. So our output USB is working on this as well, and it wasn't before because that one was broke. So alright, we will see you on the next one.